Hey, so quick question before we get into it. Have you ever noticed how we treat December like the waiting room of the year? Like we're just killing time until January shows up with a fresh start and probably a new gym membership, way less pie.
Less pie. Less cookies, less pie. It's a terrible idea. But to your point, December's like this preview, and somehow, like January, you're waiting for that to be the real movie. You know what? My thoughts are, what if we flip that around?
Exactly. What if December isn't the cool down, but it's the warm up?
December's your own ramp, not the off ramp.
I think so. I think that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Plus, we're going to talk about how to actually use coin in conversations without being that person who tells people you should coin it. Like, nobody likes that guy. Nobody knows better than us.
No, you don't therapy other people, right? You definitely don't be that person. That being said, though, true. You don't want to tell somebody, hey, we're going to coin this. But you can guide people through it without ever saying the word. Especially during the holidays, there's some tensions when it comes to communication during the holidays. So I think we should guide people. But like you said, don't just use the word.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Look, buckle up. Whether you're wrapping presents or you're stuck in traffic or you're just hiding from your in-laws in the garage, like, listen in.
Let's do this.
Welcome to the Nature of Everything podcast with Bo and Clint, where we deep dive into the world of personal development through coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Nature of Everything. I'm Bo.
And I'm Clint. And look, if you're new here, this is the podcast where we use coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything. And we use this to unpack life and, deal with growth and relationships and talk about all of the places that we can find ourselves stuck in life and then how we use coin to get unstuck.
Yeah, and look, whether you're here because you want to get your life together, maybe you want to improve your communication, or maybe you're just avoiding doing the dishes. For whatever reason you're here, we're really glad that you are.
Absolutely. And look, there's no judgment. Both of us, we've washed the dishes in order to avoid doing the laundry, in order to do the things that we need to do to make ourselves better. We've done all of those things.
It's a layering process.
Yeah, absolutely. So do not worry. Promise you're in the right spot.
Look, and today's episode is one that we've been really excited about doing because we're going to talk about how to not sleepwalk through December. It's been on my mind because the weather changes and I can feel myself just getting sleepy. And it's so tempting to coast just until the new year. But what if December is actually a really great time to start moving?
We're also going to talk about how to use this framework of coin as that communication tool, especially during these holiday times where it brings all of those relationship weirdnesses to the surface.
Like when you and your partner disagree about going to that party. One of you is in the mood and one of you is already in pajamas by 5.
And you know what? I do think that that's probably one of those classic moments. Like, how do you navigate that without blowing up the situation emotionally or getting someone feeling like they're going to have to shut down because emotionally they're not feeling it? And so that really is where the coin framework quietly works behind the scenes. It really works with these simple, powerful questions.
Yeah, so all that's coming up. But first, let's talk about the idea of what if December isn't the off season, but it's actually the on ramp. Like, seriously, though, why does this month, this weird, chaotic, magical month of December, why does it matter so much?
Well, I think it's because most people treat it like it's the closing credits of the year. That's a wrap. We're done with the year. I'm out. Well, you can look at it that way and think, well, I'll just deal with all my goals and growth and good intentions in January, but I don't know that that's your best bet.
Yeah, we act like December is sort of some kind of emotional layover, like we're just sitting there waiting on the real flight to take off.
I really think that how you end the year often determines how you start the next one. So don't get me wrong. I don't think that you need some big dramatic transformation or some huge proclamation at the end of the year. But I do think that you're really smart to end the year with momentum.
Yeah, I mean, December could be the soft launch of next year, 2026 for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So it's where you get to practice what matters and maybe without all the pressure of being perfect.
Absolutely. So instead of resolution, just try stuff. be observant, get real honest with yourself, that uncomfortable honesty even at times. But ask yourself those questions like, where am I overwhelmed, or what am I hiding from, and where am I hiding? Also, consider your year and really think about, where were you overcommitted to a point that it was possibly even unhealthy for you?
Those are all great questions to ask, but there's also a bonus because
Mm,
December is going to show you all of your relational triggers. Because the
mhm.
holidays, they're just going to come with extra invitations, obligations, and a lot of extra emotions. And you're going to notice all these little ego boundaries popping back up.
And that's actually a brilliant way to consider it, because all of that you're talking about makes a perfect environment for our coin framework. Not in a sense that you're like, okay, let's fix everyone at Christmas. Good luck with that. That always works out great. But I do think that we can frame this in a smart way to say, I know that these things are coming up, and how can I show up maybe a little differently than I've done before? Like, how can I make this better?
Yeah. If December feels heavy or messy or you're stretched thin, that's not failure. That's just feedback, like we say. And that's a great starting point.
So let's talk about coin in real life, not just in your journaling, not just on like your vision boards, but conversations with actual humans that you're going to be dealing with during the holidays. So let's talk about any classic scenario. So, for instance, you and your partner, you get invited to a holiday party, and one of you wants to go, the other one not so much.
Yeah, and that tension that creeps in. And
Mm.
either you say yes out of guilt or you say no with, the fallout and like, no, I don't want to go to Becky's
Mhm.
party. But maybe there's a better move. You use coin, but again, don't say coin because that
Yeah.
makes it weird.
Definitely, I would not say, "Hey, okay, babe, let's coin this real quick and just figure out what the truth is." I wouldn't go that direction.
Yeah, because you'll be done before dessert. But seriously, you can use questions to coin things to guide the conversation. Let's break it down and talk about confirming it.
Okay, so I think that you start with curiosity, not assumption. If we start this with curiosity and we pose a question, something like, "Where do you land on this?" or "How do you feel about this?" Now, will everybody form these questions the same? No, you form them the way you form questions, like speak from you honestly. But this does get to open the door.
Because that way you're not leading the witness. You're not trying to convince them. You're really just asking them how they feel.
Absolutely. Find out, like, how important is this to you? Like, what's your energy level on this right now? Because if you're really wanting to go and I'm neutral to less than neutral, then find out. Just go a little bit deeper and own your part of it to say, yeah, I'm not feeling it so much.
It's a good way to ask them to check in with themselves.
Hmm.
And, it's both. It's like, how do I feel about this? How do they feel about this?
And it's without saying, okay, what's your ownership level? Because that's going to get you nowhere. It's not an all or nothing sort of situation. You can be intentional to that degree.
Yeah, and that's being intentional together. Finding a middle ground. It's compromise. It's respecting each other's bandwidth and values.
Absolutely. And you didn't have to throw like buzzwords around. You didn't have to throw a framework at anyone, but you are able to guide the conversations with probably better questions.
That's what we mean when we say that coin isn't just personal. It's relational. It's a way to avoid blowups and it's a way to build understanding.
And especially when those emotions start running high and your schedules are stacking on each other, and we're worried about, missing something or not being present or being overly, all of these weird emotions. Like, coin gives you that pause button, and it gives you that moment, that chance to recalibrate.
Yeah, because most of the time the problem isn't even the party. It's
Mm,
just the unspoken stuff around the party. It's I'm tired or, boy, my Christmas wallet's getting so thin. That's where coin helps us to get real honest though. It's not about the party, it's about other stuff. And look, that kind of conversation, it's just not helpful for your partner. You can use that same thing with yourself.
absolutely. Like, sometimes the hardest conversations aren't often with other people. For me, it's the ones that keep happening in my own head.
Yeah, and that's where coin becomes less of a strategy and sometimes more of a sanity check because you can guide yourself through the same process but without any guilt or no pressure. Like just relax into it. So let's walk through that again. Confirm it. You ask yourself, like, what's really going on here? Not the drama, not the noise, just the truth.
Sure. And I think that's a really fair aspect to where you get to ask yourself, am I really mad, or am I just tired? Am I just trying to make it to the finish line of the year? And if the answer is yes, then you get to ask yourself that. You're like, am I avoiding this task, or am I overwhelmed, or like am I overwhelmed and I'm pretending that I'm not overwhelmed? I mean, that's a fair question.
Yeah, and then you take ownership. Like, what's my role in this? Like, maybe you did overcommit. Maybe you didn't
Mm.
speak up. Maybe you're saying yes to everybody but you.
Maybe you haven't even owned the boundaries that maybe you haven't owned the boundaries that you've never set. And I swear, like preaching to the choir.
Saying no to a third cookie might be a great idea.
But I love the cookies. I don't want to say no to cookies. But if you do consider those, then what does it look like to move forward? It's still not trying to move forward with perfection. It's just moving forward with purpose. Like as you present these questions and these thoughts to yourselves, like that's what it looks like to be intentional.
It's how you could use coin to check in without feeling like you need to overhaul your life, in a weekend or whatever. It's about being in relationship with yourself, the way that you'd want to be with somebody you care about.
Yeah, and to your point, what better month to practice that than like December, when most everyone's emotions are higher, their expectations are higher. All of our expectations are higher. I would bet that clarity is probably in short supply, but not emotions.
Yeah, clarity is definitely in short supply. I mean,
Hmm.
especially in the grocery store parking lot, nobody can see. But look, you don't need to fix everything right now. But you just need to stay in the room with yourself. Ask some better questions. Choose like that one small step forward.
Sure. And when you really start showing up for yourself with honesty and with responsibility in mind and just that little bit of intention, like you're not just like making your way and surviving through December.
Yeah, you're starting the new year early, with
Mm,
momentum
sure.
more than guilt, with
Yeah,
awareness, not of being overwhelmed.
absolutely. So look, let's wrap this up. If there's one idea we hope you carry into the rest of December, I hope it's kind of this gift. You don't need to be perfect. We all need practice.
I mean, December's not a test, it's a training ground. It's a place that you can experiment with awareness and you can experiment with ownership and intention, all before the pressure of that new year, new you crap shows up.
And realistically, look, you don't have to write a 5-year plan or anything crazy. Like just start noticing. Notice what it feels like to feel good, and notice what it feels like when something's heavy and it's bringing you down, or it's a burden of some sort. Like, and then be really aware and recognize what feels aligned and feels what's in place with your authentic self.
And every time you ask yourself or someone else a better question, you are practicing coin, but remember, keep it quiet, but practice it powerfully.
That's right. Absolutely. Because that does mean that you're trying. That means that you're putting in the practice. And again, you don't have to win December. It's that there's no competition. But don't get beat up and used by December. Like you get to use December for you.
I don't know about you, but I think that's the end of the December sermon. I mean,
Pass around the plate.
you,
Let's do it.
you don't have to have your whole life together before the ball drops,
That's
but
right.
just maybe don't walk into January like you've been hit by a reindeer.
True. You may come in with a hangover, but just don't come in unresolved.
Yeah, don't come in with only a hangover. Hangovers are welcome, but hangover plus clarity,
Plus
which
clarity.
seems
Yeah.
like a contradiction. Look, everybody, so if today's episode, if it hits home, if you're kind of thinking about this stuff like we are, share it with somebody. Share it with somebody who's already RSVPing maybe to 18 different
Mm,
holiday parties. They're going to need this. They're going to need to remember that they're not messed up. They're normal.
that's right. That's right.
And two, like follow us on socials. Look for Point Your Life, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, maybe even LinkedIn. Like if you could remember that password, probably not.
Probably not. And if you haven't yet, go get the book. Yes, the actual physical book. We really would love for you to read it. Confirm it. Own it. be intentional, and change the nature of everything in your life. And it's at coinyourlife.com.
Yeah, and don't just read it, highlight it, argue with it. Like, leave it on the coffee table to look emotionally evolved. Whatever works.
Hey, and absolutely, look, we'll check in with you guys on Tuesday, like we do, and then back on Friday, and we'll do all the things. Don't wait for January. Start small. Be scrappy about it.
I dig it.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out coinyourlife.com and find us on social media.